Since 1997, I'm researching on out-of-place artifacts, so-called out-of-place, because they leave a lot of questions to our scientists, but they are an approval that there existed former unknown civilizations. And today I will show you pieces from one of, for me, most important collections from Ecuador, found by engineer Guillermo Sotomayor, 1984, while gold digging for a British gold digging company in Ecuador. He found in an underground tunnel, while digging, over 350 very strange artifacts. Most of them do not have any relation to any known pre-Colombian cultures. On this photo, you can see Engineer Sotomayor. Unfortunately, a few years ago, he passed away. He gave his collection to my very good friend, Herman Villamar, and he kept, and his family still keeps the artifacts, because also my good friend, unfortunately, 2 years ago, he passed away. So on that picture, you can see the place where Engineer Sotomayor found these interesting artifacts. Very interesting is also that very close to that location where they found the artifacts, there is, in my opinion, one of the most healthy water from all over the world. The city close by is called La Mana in Ecuador. I started 1997 the idea and planning to do an exhibition with out-of-place artifacts to give the science the possibility to check the artifacts when we bring them to Vienna to the exhibition. The exhibition was held 2001, and I got a good friend, a museum director, and he wrote lending requests to museums worldwide to lend artifacts which are strange or very hard to explain to our exhibition, which we called Unsolved Mysteries. So when we received the answers from the museums, out of over 340 requests, we got only one artifact. So everybody of my friends, it was already 2000, meaning a little bit over 1 year before the exhibition. My friends told me it's better to cancel the reservation, but I said I never give up. And we started the first trip to Colombia and Ecuador, and further on to United States, Mexico, Africa, and Europe. And we found in a little bit over 1 year, 470 artifacts, which we presented 2001 in Vienna. So when we arrived in Ecuador, through a good friend, we got connection to Herman Villamar, and he invited us one evening to come to his house to see his collection. On that picture, you see a part of his collection, and you can imagine how happy I was when I saw these strange artifacts. I asked him if he can lend us some of these pieces, but he said he has to ask the leader of the indigenous people called Villamar, Luis Villamar. So he invited next evening Luis Villamar, and when he came, we had a short talk, and then I asked him if he could allow us to take some of these pieces to the exhibition. First of all, he said, no way, these artifacts are very spiritual for us. I cannot accept lending you the pieces. So I was not really disappointed, but I was very sad. And further on, we had a long talk, and good that I could speak Spanish. So suddenly he stood up and he took, this is Luis Viracocha, he took one round plate, a small round plate, and he asked one of my friends to put a small string with a small magnet directly in the center of this spiral. And the first friend did it, and it started circling round, round, round until out of the plate. Then the second one and the third one. And this is our logo, which was planned already, which had a very, very similarity to this plate. So here you can see me when I was holding the small magnet directly over the spiral, and it did not move. So I was waiting around half a minute. Then I stopped it, but Luis told me, do it again. So I put it again over, and all my three friends, when they did it, the magnet started round, round, circling. But my test, it didn't move at all. And after the second trial, Luis looked at me and he turned around to Herman and he said, finally, Herman, you can lend those pieces to that man. So I was very, very happy. You see here, while I was holding the small magnet directly over that plate. Why it did not move when I did it, I have no idea, but finally, that was the solution to Luis, that he lent us the artifacts. So I start with one heavy, big rock, and on that rock, you can see the world map carved. On the left side here, you see the map of Athanasius Kirche, where you have Atlantis on it. The second map is from Turkey, and there are several other very old maps. And on the left side here is the so-called world map stone. This is the front side. You can see here Italy, you can see here Greece, you can see here Saudi Arabia, Arabian Gulf, India, and here you have an inlay, an eye, and there is a natural quartz line going around that rock, passing Asia, passing here where Japan and Taiwan is, but here you can see one long continent which does not exist in this style today. And this is the inlay of the eye and the natural quartz line, but the world map is carved, and there's an inlay to recognize the world. This is the other side, and you can see from Europe, from the Mediterranean, the white quartz line is passing the Atlantic Ocean, and here you have one continent which does not exist in our days. That could be Atlantis or a part of Atlantis, and it looks very similar with the card of Athanasius Kirche. Then the quartz line, the natural quartz line, comes down here and ends up here. It makes a turn at the location where today is Guayaquil, the Ecuadorian city. And there is a small inlay coming up here. And here you have a round dot. And this is exactly the location of La Mana in Ecuador, the town where those artifacts were found. And then the quartz line continues and goes back to the other side. And all these markings are inlays. So on the one side, you have here, as I told you before, you have one continent down here, and you have one continent here. It goes from the Sakhalin Islands, which are now belonging to Russia, down after Taiwan. That was one continent on that map. That means this map should be quite very, very old, because in our days now you have several Japanese islands, the Sakhalin Islands, and you have Taiwan around here. And also India is longer than in our days. And you remember after the big tsunami 2006, they found some sunken cities on the coast of India. That means there was really also in the past the possibility or the existence of some cities in this area. For me, interessant, connected with artifacts which are coming further on. For me, very important and interesting is why there is an eye inlay exactly around the area of Jerusalem or Middle East. That might be the place where the artifacts came from, but that is just my theory. There is no confirmation from scientists until now. So here you have a pyramid with 13 steps and an inlay of an eye. You have the one inlay on the world map stone, and you have here one eye inlay in the colors lightly green and white, and 13 steps. And if you look on one US dollar note, you can see that on that is one pyramid with a shining eye. And when I showed this in the exhibition and later on in some of the conferences, many people called me, I am definitely Illuminati because I show this pyramid. But I can tell you, when you look on the world stone map, you can see that that should be very, very old. And for me, this pyramid is much older than the existence of the so-called Illuminati. Here you have a close-up of the eye. And if you put the eye under black light, ultraviolet light, you can see that the eye is very shining. And I show you a small movie clip, which we did when we visited Ecuador. You can see how this eye is shining under ultraviolet or black light. When I saw that first time, my hair was standing up a little bit. I was really big surprised. And several other artifacts also, they have the same reaction when you put them under black light. On the bottom of the pyramid, you have the inlay of the Orion constellation in small gold plates. And there is an unknown writing. And there was one man, Professor Kurt Schildmann in Germany. He was the president of the German Linguistic Society. And he could, as he mentioned, not translate, but decipher. He said that the meaning on the bottom of the pyramid is the Son of the Creator comes. This is a close-up of the writing and the inlay of the Orion constellation. There are three pieces which are connected with the pyramid. You have a stone with an ink carving of a man sitting here. He is holding the pyramid. From his eyes are going rays out to two bowing men. On his head, he has a helmet and a kind of antenna which is showing up to this in carving. On that stone, I show you later a close-up, you can see how you have to hold the pyramid. And this is a helm, which you can see here in the engraving, but there is something broken away here, and that might be that kind of like an antenna. Here on the stone, you see the two eyes, you see the right hand, the pyramid is standing on the right hand and holding with the left hand here on top. This is the helm. You can see here that something broke away here. This is Germán Villamar, he was. And here you see how the helm was fitting the head and how you have to hold the pyramid. One other stone, you can see again the pyramid with the eye and lines with spirals and unknown writing or symbols. Another stone, again the pyramid with the eye, and here you have the Orion constellation exactly like the three pyramids in Egypt. Here in line, 1, 2, 3 stars. Then another stone with the eye and one round circle, which could be the presentation of the Earth, maybe, but that's just a theory. And again, that object over that circle. Another pyramid with a double spiral inlay, and also this pyramid, the inlays are very brightly shining when you put the artifact under black light. Then another very, very interesting artifact is the big Jade cup with a star inlay, a star constellation inlay, and 12 cups with a kind of numbers, which looks like Mayan numbers, but they are definitely different. Here you can see the 12 small cups and the big cup. The very interesting thing is the small cups are all a little different in size. That means they are not exactly the same size. But when you fill them plain with water and you put the water of the 12 cups into the big cup, then the big cup is completely filled, completely. Here you see one side of the cup and an inlay of 3 stars. And the interesting thing is that this cup inside is very magnetical. Germán took the small magnet on the string and he put it inside. It's magnetical completely on all places inside the cup, but outside, not completely, not only in the center of the 3 big stars. Here you can see better the 3 big stars, and here the reaction using the small magnet. Outside, only in the center of the 3 big stars, and inside magnetical all over. If you put the big cup and also the small cups, again under black light, you can see that all the inlays are changing the color and are more brightly under the black light. Here you can see some of the small cups and the numbers. And you can see here the Mayan numbers, that they are different, but there is a similarity. So maybe, again, there could be a connection between those artifacts and the Maya numbers in Mexico. And there was also a small jade plate with the same stars constellation like on the big cup, and two kind of people looking up to the sky. Here's a daylight. You can see the three big stars, again, the same like on the big cup. And also those pieces are, the inlays are shining in a bright light when you put them under black light. Then another very interesting artifact is a big stone. It was the form of a heart, but here part is broken, and also here part is broken. And you have a face on that heartstone. And the very strange thing is, how did they change the color of the brown stone with this material? Or maybe this material is artificial and made afterwards on the heartstone. And also here is a magnetical situation. When you put the small magnet directly over the mouth, it looks like this face is speaking. And you see the two eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the magnetical situation. That is the reverse side of the stone. And you have a spiral inlay and a triangle. Also the inlay under black light is brightly shining. You can see here. Another very interesting artifact, and does not fit South American culture, because the cobra was not known as an animal of South America. The backside of the cobra head has 32 lines and one top dot. That means 33. And on each side, 7 dots with connections. That could be the signification of the chakras, and the 33 are again a kind of connection to the so-called Illuminati or Freemasons, but I'm sure that those artifacts are much older. Yeah, that is the top side of the cobra. And all the inlays on that piece also have the same reaction like the pyramid, like the cups, under black light. Here you see on the right side the eye of the pyramid and the reaction of the inlays of the cobra head. That's a so-called presentation of Kundalini. That means you can see here the sexual energy is going in snake line form on the back side up to the third eye. And this would be more a piece from India or Southeast Asia, but definitely not from any pre-Colombian culture. Here you see the backside, the snake form, the sexual energy is going up to the third eye. That's another very important piece from that collection. It's a stone, kind of stone helmet. And you have also here inlays which have the same reactions under black light. And two experts in the exhibition in Vienna, experts for acupuncture, they told me that these are energy points on the back of the head, which they use for acupuncture. This is Herman showing how you could use that helm on your head. And here you see the inlays also reacting under black light like the others. Then this is a form like a dog face. You can see the two eyes, and on the reverse side, you have the third eye. And Herman showed me how you can hold that piece on your head. So that means the two eyes looking forward, and on the back side, you have at the point where we have the so-called third eye, it fits exactly with the inlay on that piece. This again, the small round jade plate with a spiral inlay. Also the inlays, the same reaction under black light, and also the magnetic effect in the center of the spiral. Another interesting piece, and some specialists told me it would be even difficult today to make so perfect circles with inlays in a jade plate today, even with high technology. So how could those people in the past making such wonderful piece? And again, the reaction with black light. That's a big snake with a lot of dot inlays in circle form. Also jade material. And then several statues, terracotta, some of them 1 meter, some of them half a meter big. Or many of them connected with a snake. And if you look at that, I think first you might think that is from India or from that area. But all those pieces were found 1984 in an underground tunnel in La Mana in Ecuador. For me, definitely, this is really one of the most important collections I ever found. And the interesting thing is, as I told you before, that close to that finding place, there is a water well, which the water has nanomicroscopic gold and silver particles in it. And it has a strong energy. When I brought back a few bottles in a carton, 2003, when I visited again Herman Villamar, I brought some plastic bottles with that water with me. And when I checked in Guayaquil airport, everything was okay. And after about half an hour, my name was called. And I had to go with a stewardess in a special room. There was my suitcase and the carton box with the water bottles, and surrounded with soldiers with the guns and one officer and a scanner and my carton box. And I had to identify myself, and they asked me if this is my luggage. I said yes. They asked me, what is inside the carton box? I said, plastic bottles with water from La Mana. They said, the officer told me, unpacking please. And I started already nervous because I thought somebody put me something inside which could me bring into big problems. So I opened the carton I took out one bottle by one bottle, and when I saw that there is nothing except the plastic bottles in the carton, first time I was a little bit relaxed. Then the officer told me, put the water back. I put it back. And then he took the carton box. He put it 2-3 times through the scanner, and then he made a telephone call. Few minutes later, a doctor came with an empty injection, and he asked me to open 2 bottles, and he took some of the water and went away. I had to stay there, and I was really nervous. I thought maybe somebody put me something inside the water. But finally, after half an hour, he came back. He talked with the officer, and the officer said, "It's okay, you can go." I was shocked, and I was happy again because nothing happened. We went from Guayaquil, a friend was with me. We went to Bogota, and I thought, now we have the same problem. We checked in, we stayed there about 4 days, and when we came back to the airport, I told my friend, let's be at least 4 hours earlier. If we have the same problem like in Ecuador, we should be there in time. Nothing happened. So when I arrived in Vienna, I had nothing to declare. I went through the custom. Suddenly outside the custom control, 2 officers in civil came. They showed me the identification. They told me I have to come with them. So we went again back inside. We went in a room with a scanner, and the one officer asked me, what is inside that carton box? I said, water from Ecuador, but we had the same problem already in Guayaquil. I don't know why water is so complicated. One of the officers said, what did you do in Ecuador? I said, I was researching for my exhibition for new artifacts for unsolved mysteries. And the one officer was smiling and said, you did the exhibition 2001 in Vienna? I said, yes. He said, wonderful, interesting exhibition. You know why we put you out? I said, no, I don't know. He said, look, he put the carton box into the scanner and he put it inside. And then he told me, look at the TV screen. I looked on the screen. I said, it's black. He said, yes, that's why we picked you up. Because usually we see if there is water in plastic bottles, usually we can see the shadow of the plastic bottles on the scanner. Nothing, black. And I do not know until now why that happened, but some people told me that is the energy of the water, which confused this electronic, the scanner. You can see Professor Gutierrez, Jaime Gutierrez. He is in the entrance of one tunnel, which is under the 2 houses he built here. And over that entrance to an underground tunnel system, he was building a bridge. So that means when he goes from one house to the other one, he walks over the bridge and does not disturb the entrance to the underground tunnel system. Professor Jaime Gutierrez is a famous Colombian architect and industrial designer. And since many, many years, he is collecting artifacts from Colombia, which the people are bringing to him because they know they might have problems to sell them to museums or the official government. So on the first few pictures, I show you some artifacts or monuments from San Agustin, from south of Colombia. And you will see why I present you those, because there are similarities of figurines like this one, also found in Siberia, in Japan, in Korea. So that might be one point of a global connection, pieces which are showing that there might have been a global civilization or global contact. This one holds a child, and you can see the two teeth. So similar artifacts are found in many other countries. And that's one of another from San Agustin. And now I show you pieces which are in the collection of Professor Gutierrez. This is one very beautiful stone-made artifacts. Of course, nobody can say how old it is, but it shows that the old civilization living in Colombia, they were very good masters in making stone statues. This shows a step pyramid with a human on front, with the snake on the back side, and an ape on the other side. So a very interesting artifact found in the area of San Agustin. That's another piece from this area, and it shows a man holding a child, or it could be even a giant and holding a human on his feet. Why giants? Because we have a lot of confirmations about giants in South America, but that is the story of another presentation. That's another statue with an animal on his top. And there are also very many similarities with jade figurines which were found in Mongolia. I also will show many of them in another presentation. That's another artifact, stone made with an animal on it. That's a pot made out of volcano rock with a man on front, and the similar animal which was on the other artifact. This is very, very interesting because it's also very old, and it shows an animal which does not exist in our days. It looks kind like a frog with a long tail. This is the front side of that animal. It does not exist anymore. So that means how old are in reality those rock monuments or figurines. Then on this photo, you see the Santo Ecce Homo monastery, which was built 1620 in Villa de Leyva. It's in the north east of Colombia, a monastery in an area where they found millions and millions of fossils and even parts of small dinosaurs. This is inside the church, and you can see that Jesus Christ, they made on bottom made out of fossils. They used the fossils in building. Also in flooring, they used thousands and thousands of fossils. And the interesting thing is that this one looks like a pineapple. Everybody would think now pineapple didn't exist millions and millions years ago. But here you can see an avocado, close up of the avocado inside fossils. Here, very interesting, a corn, a piece of corn petrified, which for the science, it's impossible, because how old are all those fossils and how old is this corn or maize petrified. This is Professor Huertes, Padre Huertes. He has 3 professor titles. One is medicine, one is anthropology, and the other one is flora. 3 professor titles, and he holds a petrified banana and a petrified cocoa bean. Here you have a close-up of the cocoa bean and the banana. Definitely petrified and definitely cultivated fruits. Here you see the backside of the cocoa bean, and he wrote a book about those artifacts. And you can see here on the picture a drawing of a cocoa bean, petrified. That's a pinos, also petrified, found in the area together with all the other fossils. That means, and Professor Padre Huerta said that those are definitely cultivated fruits and vegetables in an area where there are millions of fossils and even dinosaurs. That means who could cultivate fruits and vegetables many million years ago? A big question. In the same area, El Infernito, officially built around 1,500 years ago as an old, Muisca observatory. And there are a lot of big stone penises. What kind of cult, nobody knows. Even underground stone monuments in the same area. And the most interesting artifact found in this region from Professor Gutierrez, you can see here a petrified hand, the bones of a petrified human hand, together with a former form of ancient animal. There is also there are also the bones of a petrified food. That means one piece with a petrified hand and a petrified food. The stone structure in this area is older than about 40 to 60 million years. That means, how is it possible that at that time already human-like people lived in this area? This is a petrified bone head of an animal which does not exist anymore. The bone is petrified, but you can see that there are many very interesting and small carvings in this artifact. They also found close by many small petrified bones with the same animal. And the interesting thing is that some of these animals here, you can see that they have arm rings and feet rings. So that means very, very old, but nobody can say really how old, because those bones are completely petrified. Here's a close-up. Animal with a long tail and a flat head with big eyes, exactly as the big petrified bone skull was showing. On this one, you can see here an arm ring here. That's another unknown animal, petrified bone of an animal, most probably the body of an animal, petrified, and the ink carving shows you a mask. This is the reverse side of that animal bone and the mask. These are two other petrified bones showing the same statue like you saw before on the picture of San Augustine, with long teeth, the figurine like a human with long teeth, exactly as I showed you one big stone monument from San Augustine. That means very old, and the civilization which made those is not known. This is an animal horn, maybe from a rhinoceros. I don't know if they lived in the ancient times in South America, but also with the ink carvings. That's another long bone from an animal with very interesting ink carvings, like here the face, and here some symbols, arrows. And then they found also in that region many stone-made artifacts, like a face you can see here. That's another face, but it does not look like a South American pre-Columbian human. It looks more similar to the Middle East, like Phoenician. So it could be one of the artifacts which shows that there might have been contact with Middle East people in the ancient times. That's another stone within carving with a very strange head and some head on top here. That looks like a horse, or could be also a kind of dinosaurs, also stone made. A skull made out of a stone. Another artifact showing an animal biting a snake. This is lydite, a very hard material, where I can show you in one of the next presentation many of those pieces made out of the same material, but only presenting here one, which also shows with other symbols here an animal with a long tail. This is also on the same artifact, very fine, small end carvings. This is made out of volcanostone, and it looks like the big brothers on the Easter Island, also found in Colombia. This is the front view of that statue. And this one is very interesting because the man who made this was a really master in stone art making, because on one side you see a bird, also on the other side is also a bird. And if you look the front side, the faces of the birds are showing a big face in the front. That means a very interesting artifact and a really masterpiece, but how old and who made it, nobody knows. On the back side of that artifacts, you have a very strange animal here, which I present you on rock art from Ica, Peru, in one of the next presentations. But this artifact was found in Colombia, and here the face of a man. This is another one, stone art with a man holding a ring. And the interesting thing is here that there is a writing which we found on stones in Ecuador, in Colombia, in Illinois, in United States, in France, in Glosel, and in Turkmenistan. So definitely this is the approval that there must have been a global civilization, or at least global contact in the very past. You can see the close-up of that writing. And on the reverse side, you see 3 people, humans, and 1 big frog. That's another one. 3 faces, and on the reverse side, you have a strange, unknown animal. Here you have 3 persons on the front side. The same strange animal you saw on the artifact before, a bee, and here a bird, and here also the unknown writing. So if that animal is unknown, it could be the approval that these stone arts are really very, very ancient. That's another one with a deer and many symbols here and here. And on the reverse side, you have again an unknown animal and bees and a human, very strange looking human. Then mother and child, a very beautiful stone art piece. And this man and woman surrounded by a snake. That would be a kind like Adam and Eve. And when this first Spanish conquistadors came to South America and to Mexico, they found out that especially the Incas had many similarity with the Catholic Church. They were very surprised. They had many stories and even holidays at the same time, like the Catholic Church, and the same meaning through the Incas. That's approved by scientists, by chronological reports from that time. So it could be, but I think it is even older than the Incas, and it comes from Colombia, and the Incas did not conquer Colombia. Here you have 2 small pyramids, one up, one down, and one person, strange looking person looking up, and one down. And on the left side, you see again the unknown writing. On the reverse side, you have again 4 animals. Here you have a strange animal, and on top, a face with 2 long horns. Very interesting artifact. Here you can see the face with 2 horns on top. And this is also a very beautiful art piece, because on one side you have symbols here, a smiling face with a beard. On the other side, you have here different symbols. And on the bottom, you have a crocodile. That means a piece with 2 different visions, one human-like, and on the bottom, a crocodile. That's 2 animals, one is eating the other one, but we don't know what kind of animal is shown here. And that not only in Colombia were found very beautiful stone art pieces. This piece and the following ones are from Ecuador, also from an unknown civilization from the past, because what we know, the oldest civilization is the Valdivia civilization from Ecuador, which goes back 4,000 years. But those pieces were found in the jungle area of Esmeralda, and they are not connected to any known pre-Columbian culture. Beautiful stone artwork. That is a chair made out of stone. This is a human kneeling here, and on top you can sit on that stone chair. Very old, unknown civilization, South America, Ecuador. This is a music instrument made out of stones, very hard stones, and we used it there. We could test it. Beautiful sound. They also made axes from very hard stone, normal size, which was usable by people, but these ones are bigger than normal, and the one here is made out of granite. It is 70 centimeter long, and you can see here where it was held by a string. In the past, it was used. It's presented in a museum in Ecuador, and it is written ceremonial eggs. Why ceremonial eggs? Because it is 5 times bigger than a normal stone eggs from that area. It's connected to the giants because not far away where this stone eggs was found, a padre, a priest, found the bones of a 25 feet long human being, of a giant. So this eggs could have been used by a giant at least 25 feet tall. I will explain more about giants in another presentation. Now we have a short look to Venezuela, because I got several very good pictures and informations from a friend there, Mr. Otilio. They found stone fairs in Costa Rica, in Europe, in other countries in South America, but also, and that's unknown, also in Venezuela, many of them. Here you can see one, for example, they just found in the jungle area. That's another one. There are big stone monuments with a kind of writing. Here you can see it. And Mr. Otilio and his friends, they have no much money to research, and the official archaeology in Venezuela is not interested in those researches. But you can see here that very strange man-made kind of monument or piece, part of a wall. Nobody knows. This is Mr. Otilio. He just yesterday sent me new pictures with stones with a very strange writing on it. Here, can you imagine, deep in the jungle of the province Sucre, they find these kind of man-made or man-worked on stones, big ones, and walls out of stone. This one also, nobody knows for what reason they made it, but it is definitely made and not natural. Another one here. So that means South America has a lot unknown history. Here you have a stone from the same area with a kind of writing which looks very similar with the Greek linear writing A. That's another piece of that area. And also this one, you can see that somebody worked on that rock and made many holes in it. Nobody really knows what kind of civilization here. Destroyed big wall. Here another interesting piece from that area, just to show that there are so many stone objects in South America, and we do not know really what kind of civilization did all this work. And concerning pyramids, the last information from Argentina, you can see here the rest of a wall or buildings, and here you can see a pyramid from Argentina. Here the steps going up. And also stone objects with symbols and hole. So there's a lot still to research, and I thank you for watching. Please apologize my English. It's not perfect, but I hope it's good enough that you could understand what I would like to tell you, and hope to see you again on the next program, which is coming with interesting artifacts again very soon. Thank you very much for watching.